Hey guys, Desolator Magic here, and oh boy, we got some more spoilers. Better late than never. I was working really nasty hours this weekend, but we're jumping back into it. They're just as crazy as they were a day or two ago. Like, for example, the Roller Crusher ride. So it's 1 red plus 2 plus X, legendary enchantment, mythic in red with Delirium. And if a source you control would deal non-combat damage to a permanent or player while there are 4 more card types among cards in your graveyard, it deals double that damage instead. That's any source non-combat. But also, you'd probably wonder what the X is. When it enters battlefield, it deals X damage to each of up to X target creatures. And then with Delirium, double that. So, I mean, a red wins card that costs 3+. Usually you stick to the 1 to 2 for absolute all-out suicide blitz, but red did slow down a little bit post-rotation in standard. Usually the exception for like, okay, it costs 3, but it's absolutely worth it is when the damage is doubled. Now, outside of standard, I thought, oh, there's got to be a bunch of other ways to do this, right, that are more efficient or quicker. I may reconsider that stance because it's $15 on pre-order. So next up, we got Fear of Infinity. It's a 3 cost, 1 blue, 1 black, 2/2 enchantment creature nightmare. It has flying and lifelink, nice, and it can't block, but it has Eerie whenever an enchantment you control enters battlefield, or whenever you fully unlock a room, you may return Fear of Infinity from your graveyard to your hand. Oh, recurring aerial lifelink. I read Fear of Infinity, I'm like, they're not going to do an infinite graveyard loop, are they? Well, okay, not like infinite trigger loop, but no, that's what they did, yeah. So next up, Silent Hall Creeper. It's a 2 cost blue horror. It's only a 1/1, but it can't be blocked because we obviously needed more of that in the game. And whenever it deals combat damage to a player, this is where it gets nuts. Choose one that hasn't been chosen, the end. So not this turn or not whatever, it's like ever. Now that does reset if you flicker it. I should say that because, you know, frogs, but as long as it's considered the same permanent, you cannot choose the same one twice effectively per game. Now first we got put 2 1/1 counters on it, which really in blue? Jeez. Then draw a card, okay, that's pretty normal. And then the third one is it becomes a copy of another target creature you control. Now you might notice missing from that text is the traditional way to do it, which is, oh, but it maintains all of its existing whatever. Nope, it loses the unblockable, it loses that on-hit ability, it becomes that creature. So if you've got a really, really good creature in play and you want another one of it, and that's the best value, the first time you swing and hit the person, boom, I've got another one. That's it. But then you lose the ability to draw a card on hit, and you lose the ability to put 2 1/1 counters on it. So the longer you can hold off, the better. Now more scenarios keep popping up in my head here. Okay, so you cast this turn 2, and you swing with it, you put 2 1/1 counters on it, now you've got an unblockable 3/3, which I think is ridiculous for 2. So then turn 4, you swing again and hit them again. Okay, you draw a card. Now you swing and hit them again. They're down 1 then 3 then 3 and can't do anything about it, and if they try to do something about it, you'll just counterspell it, so that's its whole other world. But then, but yeah, you're just absolutely running the game with this, because why would you not? And you're doing nothing on your turn, so you can guard this with counterspells. Well, now you hit them one more time, and what do? You're out of options. Silent Hall Creeper becomes a copy of another target creature you control. And you don't control another creature. Well, now it's done. Now you've got a 3/3 unblockable, which can't become a copy of another creature ever again, because that would be considered choosing the same one twice. So you could flicker it, but if you're going to flicker it, you're going to lose your counters. But I really don't like the fact that just after one swing, you got a 3/3 unblockable, self-contained, no other cards needed. This is so overpowered. This will be a catastrophe in draft. Anyway, next up, Orphans of the Wheat. Yep. Clearly a knockoff of Children of the Corn, which there's like 9 of those at this point. So it's a 2 cost 2/1 white creature human. When Orphans of the Wheat attacks, tap any number of untapped creatures you control. Orphans of the Wheat gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each creature tapped this way. Do you think they'll print He Who Walks Behind the Rows too? Even though wheat doesn't grow in rows? They're from Seattle. Tell me they wouldn't do that. They don't even know where food comes from. This looks like a good white weenie flood card until you realize that there's ones that just get +1/+1 no matter what, and then you could also attack with the rest. And there's already one card that gives +1 for every creature that exists to every creature. So it would be considered powerful if there weren't better versions of it. I'd still put it in for a redundant card, but probably not 4 of. Next up, Unstoppable Slasher. It's a 3-cost black 2/3 zombie assassin with Death Touch. When it deals combat damage to a player, they lose half their life rounded up. Oh, fantastic. When Unstoppable Slasher dies, if it had no counters on it, return it to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control with 2 stun counters on it. So, let's just call that what it is. Undying and persist, but actually fair and fixed, so it's not completely OP as balls. Well, that's refreshing, I gotta say. So you hit them once, and he deals his 2 damage, then as a triggered ability, they lose half their life, rounded up. So this is way worse than the other card where you're just trying to like kill them with that one card, and it's like, okay, Commander, they start at 40, they take 20. Well, that's a lot, but you ping them a couple more times, it's like, well, eventually they're at 8 and you get them to 4, then 2, then 1. You might as well have just done 1 damage. Or just swing for something that does 3 damage and save yourself all the triggering and time. Now this one is 2 plus half their life total. That's insane, because as soon as they're at 3 life, you'll just kill them. Such an absolute bullshit card, and then they decided to make it come back from the graveyard. So while they did do a quote-unquote fair version of Undying or Persist, this is still completely annoying and completely overpowered. Oh, non-legendary, by the way, so you can play more than one naturally, and also you can just clone it with about 6 different cards that are in standard that clone stuff right now. Wouldn't that be fun? 5 of these coming at you. That would just be fantastic. What a fun and great, enjoyable mechanic this is. So moving on to something that I'm sure is terribly fair, we've got Leyline of Mutation. It's a 4-cost double green enchantment. Obviously, if you start with it in your opening hand, you put it straight onto the battlefield before the game even begins, so you don't obviously get ETB triggers, and then you may pay 1 of each color rather than pay the mana cost for spells that you cast. Another dumb 5-color rainbow card that I'm sure is exploitable in a way that it's not intended to, the way it was written. Gee, what else is new? Would you run this instead of just, like, Omniscience? No. But this costs 4 and that costs 10, so would I put it in the same deck? Yeah, probably. So this is the wild part. This is a brand new leyline. So some of the leylines are reprints and some of them aren't, and this one is brand new despite me being very sure that this effect is printed on another card. At least one other card. Now I'm too lazy to look it up, obviously, so let's move on to Omnivorous Flytrap. That's right, he do be eating everything. So this is their new spoopy television thing. Why do they have televisions? Why do they have televisions with RGB offset, like where it's rendering, that's like color stream, but it's not merging correctly? Or actually, you know what that looks more like is it's a rear projection TV, which makes even less sense because they're supposed to be CRTs. And then the different color layers are showing up offset from each other because the projectors aren't aligned correctly. Or this could be a color wheel error in a DLP-based one, but what I'm saying is this doesn't make a damn ounce of sense, and why do they have TVs? Sincerely, everybody on the internet, apparently. I had a little bit of a problem with it. People on Reddit had a big problem with it, apparently. Probably the same people that didn't want Cyberpunk Space Japan in the game because we're supposed to be beating each other in the face with swords and shit. The hell you mean TV? What plane even was this? They're never going to tell us. You know that, right? They just made it up. Like, does the plane have a television station? Does it run on mana? Does it use towers? None of this makes sense. Okay, maybe I'm as angry as the people on Reddit, but without, like, the brainwashed liberal bullshit. At least I'm smarter than that. So anyway, it's a 3-cost 2/4 creature plant with Delirium. Whenever it enters the battlefield or attacks, Delirium distribute 2 1/1 counters among 1 or 2 target creatures. Then, if there are 6 or more card types among cards in your graveyard, double the number of 1/1 counters on those creatures. Not double the number that you're giving them, double the number on them. Y'all remember my joke way back when Delirium first came out where we said, haha, what if you go even higher and get to like 6 or 7 or 8 and then you call it like dementia or like late stage Alzheimer's, ha ha ha. Well, they would never do that. Yeah, they wouldn't, right? Anyway, here it is on a card, absolutely broken and stupid, but you're probably not going to get to 6, so whatever. Next up, we got Le Crochet d'Esprit. I'm sure that was close, but it wasn't quite there because I'm not an alcoholic. So anyway, allegedly this is the Mind Flayer, which... Really? So those are in D&D. They couldn't have not noticed that. They sell D&D, so is this a translation thing? Also, there's no way that's what this says in French. Can't really copy and paste it. Too lazy to use Google Lens or whatever. Whatever. Look, maybe they should just stop releasing these in other languages and then people wouldn't be so damn confused. Hey, there's the solution. Somebody tell them that. Next time you see Wizards of the Coast employees, tell them that. Anyway, 3 blue legendary creature enchantment nightmare, maybe. The Mind Flayer, I guess the working title can't be blocked. Because we need another one of those, and it's a 10-1 by the way. God, what the hell? Okay, if a source you control would deal damage to any opponent, prevent that damage, and each opponent mills that many cards. So it's not a 10-1. And you can't do 10 damage because, correct me if I'm wrong, there's no way to like remove that one static ability, I guess it would be, from the card. Without like an unset where you edit the card. But it expands to everything. So if any source you control at all would deal damage to an opponent, that damage is prevented. Oh, unless you have a card that says damage can't be prevented, and then you would do the 10 damage. Okay, well anyway. Oh, somebody gotta turn that into a combo, I'll tell you right now. But beyond that, they mill that many cards. So let's say you hit them for like 30. Okay, do it one more time, they're guaranteed dead. And then you got all the graveyard mechanic crap, and you can like clear their graveyard so they can't use it. So yeah, this is annoying. All the unblockable blue stuff is annoying because now you need a kill spell, except you probably need 2 kill spells because it's blue. With this card, probably mono blue, so they have a counter spell. Like that's just, it's not maybe, they do. They have one, or they built their deck wrong and made a bad mulligan decision or cast this at the wrong time. Okay, if this is in play and you don't have a counter spell in your hand, you are doing it wrong. So now you got to blow it up bare minimum of twice. I hate this. I hate this. I hate blue. Blue is the worst color in this entire set. You get doors and you get this bullshit. Non-interactive, unblockable shit that's protected by counterspells. Who the thought this was a good idea? Blue from this set is going to ruin the entirety of Standard. I'll call it right now. You got unblockable shit tribal, and then you've got I get a bunch of rooms and win while cloning and fetching rooms. Haha, screw you. Also, I've got 10 counterspells in my hand. Alt win con deck. Wow, 2 really fun decks. Good job, guys. Holy shit. Okay, moving on to the last one. We got Greenhouse and Rickety Gazebo, which you're not going to be able to cast because blue already won the game. Lands you control have tap, add 1 mana of any color. Why would you ever need that? Then we got, for 4, whenever you unlock this door, mill 4 cards, then return up to 2 permanent cards from among them to your hand, which is not a very green thing to do. If it said lands, okay. Any permanent at all. I mean, green kind of does this because it wouldn't include instants and sorceries. It's got that, like, Life Reborn effect or whatever it's called. Resurgence, I forgot what the name of it is. This is taking it a little far. I mean, we've already got Landfall heavy in here. Landfall basically unplayable pre-rotation, completely unplayable post-rotation. This set's trying to bring it back, but more so for like ramp than for pure landfall, which, okay, a little different angle. I'd rather just play landfall, but what if you were to go get a bunch of Evolving Wilds with this, or the Fabled Passage card? You know? Like, then what? Get a little bit of land ETB. That's the thing, though. There's land ramp, land fetch, land whatever. Very little true landfall effects. And I think they did it because of this, but when was the last time we allowed blue-green to go nuts on land fetching while also doing something annoying at the same time? Oh yeah, Hydroid Crisis when everybody quit the game. Like the first time around Eldraine, right around that time, right? Ikoria and all that, yeah, just one bad set after another, overpowered crap, cranked the complexity and the power level up to 1,000, and they lost all their customers. And then they gave Chris Cox a promotion for some reason. That was the beginning of the end. What do we got now? The strongest stuff in the set is pretty much green-blue. Potentially. Now, if you ask me, minus the whole blue unblockable, I'm just going to win doors, screw you crap, let's just pretend that doesn't exist, by a very wide margin. Anything white with the word for every enchantment written on it in Wilds of Eldraine mixed with anything white that is an enchantment in the set, which is pretty much every single card. You mix those together, holy shit, like every time an enchantment enters the battlefield, tap target creature, that's in Wilds of Eldraine. When you attack, get +1/+1 for every enchantment you own, that's in Eldraine. You could run mono white, you could do white-blue control where blue is just there for counter spells and for really, really broken enchantments. You could do white-black, kill flying with resurrection triggers with enchantment tribal. because some of the creatures are enchantments now. Like, you can do some messed up shit. So this is looking like 3 for 3 on really bad things done to standard in this set. Like, I was excited for about one day of the spoilers. I was like, oh, this looks pretty good. This would be kind of fun to draft, maybe. Looks really well balanced, well-designed mechanics, and interesting little half measures that we haven't seen before. Some new interesting permanent types. And then they just took it all and said, screw that. Nah, bro. Crank the power level up to 1,000, have an unblockable 10-1, and woo, let's go. What's the worst that could happen? They didn't play test this shit at all. Not one bit. Subscribe if you don't want to miss the train wreck, because I'm going to cover the absolute complete and utter demolishing that this is going to do to the standard meta very closely. I don't usually cover the standard meta for like the last 5 years because nobody on this channel gives a shit, but if you want to see the train wreck, like not like, hey, here's a good deck and here's how you build around it. If you just want to be like, wow, that's then you're on the correct channel, because I'm going to follow it real closely. Oh, we're going to be glued to those PTQs and those top charts from Goldfish. So thanks for watching. We've got at least one more batch of spoilers. I'm not covering every uncommon and common because they dump those at the end, you know, usually just the draft filler stuff. The mechanic support, you know, nothing too exciting. But there are some exciting cards coming up. Like, I'm going to cover every room, obviously. So subscribe if you don't want to miss that. Holy shit, can't look away from this train wreck. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.